Hey guys, so if you guys are watching this, you're most likely looking for a job during this pandemic. As much as it is, job searching is hard by itself, and just adding the pandemic to it, it just makes it a lot more difficult. And so if you're watching this, just know that you're not alone. Whether you might have possibly gotten laid off or gotten furloughed, or just looking for a job in general, I hope that my experience kind of sheds a little bit of light and encouragement. But know that I think in the past couple of months, I think right now it's around October. I think the last couple of months has been much better in terms of the hiring and interviewing, and so just keep applying. Try to network if you can, but just take it slow. I think, and during this, I think it's important to if it was important for me to really take care of my mental health first in terms of taking things slow, just so that I don't get burnt out by looking for another job almost. So for me, during this process, I think it was really important for me to just find gratitude in the small things, or things that are going well, whether you're getting interviews or getting callbacks or even have a job right now. I think it was important for me to at least be grateful for what I have, and just focusing on those things rather than focusing on the negatives, whether you're getting denied from jobs or not even getting interviews. I think it's really important, whether you're able to get some kind of unemployment insurance. It was important for me to at least stay positive through this whole journey. So I've been looking for a job for quite some time. So I looked this up, and I think I started looking in May of 2019, and it's been a little bit around a year and a half of looking. I actually was really close to securing something good in March of 2020, which is around 6 months ago, 7 months ago. And then the pandemic hit. Everyone stopped hiring, which makes sense, obviously. And it was much of a bummer, obviously, because I think for me, I really liked the company. I liked the people that I spoke to, and they were just pretty much in the decision mode, where they were trying to decide whether or not I get the offer. But then I think they just closed off all external hiring, and so I had to kind of start from scratch. Once that happened, and so I started. I think I took some weeks off a little bit, and then started looking again in May or June, and I realized that around July or August of 2020, that's when things start to pick up for me. At least at my location in New York, things got much better, in my opinion. But I know that it's obviously not as good as prior to the pandemic, obviously. So I think there's a couple of frustrations that I have. So one of my frustrations I've had during this whole hiring process is recruiters. I've dealt with a number of recruiters, and I've never really had a positive experience with that. After a certain time, I stopped working with external recruiters because I think they were more of a headache, and they were just trying to maximize their chances of hiring. And so it was kind of hard to deal with, especially given that some of them they weren't really responsive. Another second frustration I had was about how many of the companies are looking for experience, and it's hard to break into some kind of industry without experience, given that you know you need to be hired to get the experience, but if you don't get the experience, you can't get hired. A little bit of a catch-22 there. And so it was a little bit frustrating, given that I actually tried to go into marketing, but it didn't work out there, given that they're always telling me, you need at least a year or two of experience, even though I was looking at all entry-level positions. So I started looking elsewhere that was more aligned to what I was doing now, which is more in banking and more in consulting. And so I was mostly focused on that. After they started hiring again, I started looking into more of positions that align to what I'm doing now. My first tip was, I think, just being grateful for all the positives. It really helped. But I think a second tip I would give is to be proactive in applying and networking and interviewing, but I realized that I needed to pace myself pretty often, and it almost felt like a second job looking for another job, and not being able to pace myself. I kind of burnt out a little quickly, so that it was difficult for me to stay motivated, keep applying, given that every rejection letter sucks, and as much as people would deny it, it does add up, and it is tiresome to just keep receiving letter after letter, email after email saying that unfortunately we did not select you to continue move forward in the candidacy or in the interview process, and I just kind of reminded myself just to stay positive and just to pace myself, saying those two things really helped me out, where I just want to be positive and make sure that I pace myself in order that I don't get burnt out, and I'm making sure that I go back to what I want in my next position. And just to go into just the reasons why I was looking for a job. One being somewhat of a lack of proper mentorship for me, where at the former employer, I worked there for about 3 years, and I had actually around 5 different managers during that time, and I think I had around 4. The first 4 happened in the first a year and a half, and that was quite tough, given that it was difficult for me to kind of build that relationship in the beginning, as well as just kind of the mentorship style differed from what I needed as a person, where I needed someone who was very good at their job, but also kind of connected to you in a very personal way, and basically had me as a mentor, but also as a friend, who I could kind of depend on, and who I could go to for help. And a second reason why I left was somewhat of a compensation reason. I don't think that money is end all be all, and I don't think you should decide your career based or solely based on money. However, when you are somewhat underpaid, kind of gathering that data from friends and people that I've spoken to during the interview process, it does kind of discourage you from wanting to do your best at the current job you're at, given that why am I doing X amount of work more when I'm not compensated as much as what my peers were getting, either in the same company or different companies. And so I think I wanted to kind of make a jump due to those two reasons. So what I found really helpful for me is just the ability to stay positive during this whole journey. It was quite the long one, and I think just being able to compliment myself or give positive affirmations to myself, saying, you killed it, or you did really well in that interview, or you've improved a lot during the whole interview process, and really believing the self-talk, because honestly, I kind of questioned my worth after so many rejection letters, kind of asking, like, do companies not want me, and are my skills relevant? Are the positions and experience I'm getting relevant? And so it was a lot of negative talk that was somewhat kind of reoccurring, and I think that's very natural for anyone. And so I think for me, just having that self-positive talk was very important for myself, just so that I just keep going at it, rather than kind of get discouraged and then go back to not applying anymore or not looking anymore. One of my colleagues said this, and I think that's really relevant. If you can't cheer for yourself and you can't be your biggest fan, who will do that for you? And who's gonna be your biggest fan? Who's going to advocate for you better than yourself? And I think just having that mentality that you are your own biggest cheerleader, saying, "Hey, like you could do this." I think that was really important for me in my journey. And so hopefully, if you found anything positive or helpful during this short clip, I hope that it was helpful. And if it just helped one person, I think that gives me the motivation to just kind of share my journey and just share what I've learned. So hopefully you enjoy that. I'm just going to make this for fun. So just for the one person who's probably going to watch this, probably future me, or whoever's stuck in this YouTube rabbit hole at 3 a.m. If you like this video, please like it, subscribe if you like, and comment whatever your experience is with hiring at this time. We'd love to hear it, and hopefully you found this helpful.